मैं किरण माजुमदार शॉ जी का भी स्वागत करता हूं। ये जो सेगमेंट है ये है अबाउट साइंस एंड हेल्थ, द यूज़ ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, क्या नई नई चीज़ें कर सकते हैं डिजिटल एंड एआई बेस्ड हेल्थ केयर। तो बच्चन साहब, मिस किरण माजुमदार शॉ से आपका सवाल।
Ma'am, we are talking about the use of technology and digital applications in delivering healthcare services as widely as possible. So to make health accessible to all, is this the future of healthcare? Is this what the pandemic has led us all to?
First and foremost, I must say it's a great pleasure and a great honor to share this virtual screen with you, Bachchan sir, and of course with Rajiv as well. But, thank you, Pranay, for asking me on this show. And let me answer your question by saying that technology is actually transforming the way we look at healthcare in many, many ways. First and foremost, I'm really glad that we are focusing on wellness and not just treating illness. Because I think, the health of a nation can only improve if you focus on wellness. As you know, Bachchan Saab, we spend trillions of dollars treating illness, and we spend very little on really managing wellness, and that is what will actually shape the health of any economy. Yeah. The economic returns on investing in wellness is far greater than on treating illness. So technology is actually playing a very important role in managing wellness. So when you look at sensors today, sensors are helping you to, track the amount you exercise. It is tracking, even during the pandemic, we used oximeters to check your oxygen levels in your blood. We use so many different devices to make sure that you're in good health. And I think today mental illness is also a very, very important part of good health. And there technology plays a very important role. Today a lot of technology-led solutions for mental health are being approved by US FDA. To deal with some of the attention deficient diseases. And you just saw this beautiful rendition of Bharatnatyam to deal with good health and wellness. So I think that technology is not only going to play a very important role, but is also already playing an important role, especially in a country like India, where we have this huge deficit in medical human resource, in medical devices, and in medical infrastructure. When you look at all of this, I think technology can play a great role in terms of providing access at a very affordable scale and at great scale. So I think, these are very, very important opportunities for India. I'm actually involved with an initiative under the Citizens, Lancet Commission to look at reimagining India's healthcare. And technology is a very, very important part of this. For example, today our ASHA workers can be actually trained as digital assistants to go home to home, using very important, simple devices that can actually measure and diagnose early onset of many, many kinds of diseases, such as hypertension, such as diabetes, such as mental disorders. And I think we need to use this army of women health workers in a very intelligent way, enabling them with technology. Secondly, you know that telemedicine has now become very, very important in the scheme of things. And the pandemic was a great opportunity for every part of the world to use telemedicine, because there was such a risk associated with patients coming to hospitals. And I think a lot of diseases were managed virtually through telemedicine. And the results of that have been pretty good, except for certain diseases where you need to have intervention. But otherwise, I think technology has played a very important role. Of course, in terms of digitally enabled primary health centers, I think a lot of emphasis is being paid there, because I think early diagnosis is really the name of the game today. We want to actually diagnose early, and treat early so that the cost of treatment comes down and the outcome is much, much better. So I think whether it is cancer, where you need to diagnose early, whether it is diabetes, where you need to diagnose early, any disease, when diagnosed early, the curative potential of such diseases are extremely, extremely high. And these can only happen when you use technology. And you need to use smart technology. Of course, you all heard about the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning. These are best actually used at the moment in imaging technologies, because that's where you can train the machines to intelligently interpret images. But I'm sure the day will come when you can use artificial intelligence in many, many other ways. As a scientist, I know that a lot of what we are doing today in terms of drug discovery, drug development, we use a lot of technology today. Whether it is genomic data, whether it is other omic data, proteomic data, we rely a lot on technology to abbreviate the way we do things. Today, technology is allowing us to, in fact, look at the example of the vaccine. The vaccine has been brought from lab to market in less than a year. This was unheard of in the past because we did use a lot of technology to design the vaccines, to conduct clinical trials that could quickly interpret the data in real time. And that is the way we've been able to use technology very intelligently. So to me, I think technology is really a huge, huge transformative instrument that we have. And we're just scratching at the surface right now. I think what is good about this pandemic is that it has opened up our eyes and ears to the potential that technology has to offer. And I remain very, very optimistic that we will really be able to provide universal healthcare in India to every, Deshwasi based on technology linkages.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for all this information and connecting how technology is going to be so vital and so important for not only just detection, but future cures. And we've been talking about that earlier, haven't we, Sanket?
Yeah.
About how through apps you can get a lot of knowledge.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that great insight. I had a quick question out here, and great honor to speak with you out here. Recently, you'd actually said something which I'm taking from the answer that you just gave right now. You had said that venture capitalists in India don't understand high science, therefore they don't invest in bioscience. One of the big barriers I think that we always have with investments for the big things that need to change. Has that changed with the pandemic? Is there a new thought process out there? Do you believe that big investments in bioscience will now come?
So, Rajiv, I really don't think the pandemic has moved the needle when it comes to venture capital in high science-led kind of ventures. The reason being is that, taking any high scientific idea to the market is a very long journey. And I think the risks associated with failure are very, very high. So let's take the case of mRNA vaccines. mRNA vaccines were a concept more than a decade ago. Okay, Moderna was started a long time ago. It is not that Moderna started today. Moderna and BioNTech were companies that were started a decade ago just on the hypothesis that mRNA could actually code for certain proteins which would be very important. And at that time, there was a concept of vaccines and cancer vaccines and cancer drugs based on mRNA. And, let me tell you, Moderna was a company that was valued just over $1 billion when the pandemic hit us. Okay. Today, it has hit $200 billion, and it is one of the most expensive biotech stocks in the world. And how did that happen? It's because the mRNA technology was invested in by venture companies, by venture funds, saying, someday this is going to deliver a great promise. Now, the someday was because they understood the potential of mRNA. Now, they needed the right kind of product, the right kind of drug, and in this case, the right kind of vaccine for that potential to pan out. I don't even think they imagined it could be such a valuable company, but they felt it had huge value potential. Now, that is what is not available in India. In India, when you come up with a new concept based on a very new technology, in our field, today we know that immuno-oncology is a huge area. And we know very little about how cancer immunology works. But every time you discover a new immunological target, a company can be started. But then to translate that immunological target into a drug takes you almost 10 years. Who's going to invest in that science? Who's going to invest in scaling it up or taking that idea to the market? Now, I think the government of India has done a tremendous job. BIRAC, which is the investment arm of the DBT, whether it is DST, they have actually provided the seed capital or the risk capital, but that only takes you up to a proof of concept. We want venture funds to invest beyond proof of concept and allow us to take that idea to the next stage, which is into the clinic, into human trials. That is where we have a huge problem, because most companies prefer to invest in very simple technology-led solutions. Such as, if you tell someone that, I'm going to create a database of vaccines, that is something people will go and invest in. But if you tell them, I want to take this new oncological target and make it into a product, then there are lots of reasons why people don't want to invest in these kind of companies. That's the challenge.
No, I completely
Moreover,
agree.
in the US, they allow such companies to go to capital markets. Here we don't.
No, absolutely. Thank you. I completely agree, but I'm also hoping Moderna as an example is a great example for VCs, because I think health, hygiene, all kind of different things, especially with what the pandemic has proven, maybe the very idea that a company valued at $1 billion is now worth $200 billion. I think a lot of VCs may just want to understand high science a little bit better and get into it. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been wonderful speaking with you, and I'd love to catch up at some other time.
Yeah, not every company will be a Moderna, but 1 in 50 or 1 in 25 can.